A German shepherd walks slowly into the jungle. His body is weak and his fur is dirty. His legs tremble as he struggles to move forward. His eyes are filled with pain and confusion. He does not know where he is. He does not know where to go. He is lost and alone. Bees swarm around him. His body is covered in honeycomb formations. The buzzing sound is loud. He tries to shake them off, but he is too weak. He whimpers softly. His breathing is heavy. He stops for a moment and looks around. There is no one in sight, just tall trees and thick bushes. He takes another step, but his legs feel heavy. He stumbles and falls. The jungle floor is damp and covered with leaves. He tries to get up, but it is hard. He rests his head on the ground. His ears twitch as he listens for any sound of help. But there is nothing. The sun is setting. The jungle is getting darker. He knows he cannot stay here. He must keep moving. With all his strength, he pushes himself up and starts walking again. His paws press against the soft earth. His tail hangs low. He is scared, but he has no choice. The bees are still around him. They land on his face, his ears, his back. He does not have the energy to fight them. He just keeps moving, one step at a time. His heart beats fast. He is thirsty. His mouth is dry. He needs water, but he does not know where to find it. The jungle is quiet except for the sound of bees and rustling leaves. A bird flies past him. He watches it disappear into the trees. He wishes he could follow. He wishes he could escape, but he is stuck here, trapped in the jungle, covered in bees, searching for someone, anyone, to help him. He hears something in the distance. Footsteps, a voice. He lifts his head. Could it be help? He tries to move faster, but his body is too tired. His legs feel like they will collapse any moment. But he pushes forward. He has to. He cannot give up now. A figure appears on the jungle path ahead. The dog stops. He looks at the person. His eyes plead for help. His body sways with exhaustion. He takes one last step, then collapses onto the ground. The buzzing of the bees continues, but he does not move. His breathing is slow. His eyes start to close. He is too weak to continue. The person rushes forward. The German shepherd can hear them speaking, but the words are faint. He feels a gentle hand on his head. For the first time in a long time, he feels a little bit of hope. A local man walking along the jungle path stops in his tracks. His eyes widen in shock as he sees the German shepherd lying motionless, his body covered in honeycomb formations. The dog's chest rises and falls weakly. Bees swarm around him, their buzzing growing louder, more threatening. The man's heart races. He pulls out his phone with shaky hands and dials the rescue team. His voice is urgent, almost frantic. "Hello, yes, I found a dog. He's covered in bees. He looks weak, barely moving. Please send help immediately." He steps closer, carefully avoiding the angry swarm. His concern deepens as he watches the dog's shallow breathing. The dog flinches slightly at the sound of his voice, but does not lift his head. He is too exhausted. "Stay with me, buddy. Help is coming," the man whispers, his voice filled with worry. His heart pounds as he hears the buzzing intensify. He waves his hand slightly to keep the bees away from his own face, but does not move too much. He does not want to startle them. He glances down the jungle path, hoping to see someone, anyone, coming to help. Minutes pass. The dog does not move. The man paces anxiously, checking his phone for an update. The jungle feels hotter, the air heavier with tension. He clenches his jaw, frustrated at how long it is taking. Then a sound. The distant roar of an approaching vehicle. Relief floods his chest. He waves his arms to signal the rescuers as they rush through the jungle towards him. The team, dressed in protective suits, jumps out with equipment in hand, smoke devices, medical kits, and a stretcher, all ready to help the suffering dog. One rescuer immediately lights a smoke device, creating a thick, white cloud that pushes the bees back. The buzzing starts to fade as the insects retreat, confused and disoriented. Another rescuer kneels beside the dog, gently placing a hand on his side. He's barely holding on. We need to move fast. The man watches, his hands clenched into fists. He does not know this dog, but his heart aches for him. He steps back, letting the professionals work, but his eyes never leave the German shepherd's weak form. He silently prays that they are not too late. 3 rescuers sprint through the jungle, their boots crunching over leaves and twigs. They are carrying medical kits, bee repellents, and protective gear. The lead rescuer signals to the others to slow down as they approach the dog. The German shepherd lets out a weak whimper. He tries to move away, but his body refuses. He is too weak. His ears flick slightly at the approaching footsteps, but his eyes remain half closed. He does not have the strength to resist. One rescuer kneels beside the dog, carefully assessing his condition. He's in bad shape. We need to act fast. Another rescuer opens a medical kit, pulling out ointments and bandages. The third rescuer lights a smoke device, creating a thick, white cloud that slowly drives the bees away. The buzzing, once deafening, begins to soften as the insects scatter. The lead rescuer gently strokes the dog's head. "It is okay, buddy. You are safe now. We are going to help you." The dog barely reacts, but his breathing remains steady. The team exchanges glances, quickly formulating a plan. One medic prepares an IV to stabilize him. Another gets the stretcher ready. Every second counts. "Lift him carefully," one rescuer instructs. "We do not know the extent of his injuries." 2 rescuers work together to gently place the dog onto the stretcher. His body is fragile, his legs barely responding. As they lift him, a few bees still linger, unwilling to leave their honeycomb-covered host. "We need to remove the honeycombs from his body," one rescuer says urgently. "If we do not, the bees will keep attacking." Another rescuer uses a soft cloth to wipe the sticky honey from the dog's fur, while a medic injects a mild sedative to keep him calm. "You're going to be okay, buddy. Just hold on," one rescuer whispers. The jungle watches in silence as the team works. The dog, once lost and suffering, is now in the hands of those who refuse to let him go without a fight. The thick jungle air hums with the sound of bees, still clinging to the battered German shepherd. His fur, once sleek and strong, is now matted with hardened honeycombs, glistening in the fading light. He barely moves, his body too weak to resist. Every breath he takes is labored, a small whimper escaping his throat as he lays motionless. The lead rescuer kneels beside the dog, adjusting his gloves. "All right, we have to be extremely careful. Any sudden movement could send the bees into a frenzy." One of the rescuers takes out a smoke device. He ignites it, and thick, white smoke begins to rise into the air. The swirling haze spreads slowly, drifting toward the swarm. The effect is almost immediate. The bees, sensing danger, begin to scatter. Some buzz aggressively before lifting into the sky, while others cling stubbornly to the dog's fur, reluctant to leave their nest. The rescuer waves the smoke closer, his movements precise and controlled. More and more bees take flight, their buzzing growing fainter as they retreat deeper into the jungle. But the work is far from over. The second rescuer moves in, holding a small pair of sterilized shears. He inspects the honeycomb formations entangled in the dog's fur. "This is going to be tricky," he murmurs. Some of this has hardened against his skin. The lead rescuer nods. "We will go slow. We cannot cause him any more pain." Carefully, the second rescuer begins snipping away at the honeycomb. A small section breaks loose, revealing raw, swollen skin underneath. The German shepherd yelps softly but does not resist. His body trembles slightly, but exhaustion keeps him from struggling. The third rescuer quickly reaches for the medical kit. He pulls out a pain relief injection, carefully measuring the dosage. "This should help ease the pain," he says, gently inserting the needle into the dog's leg. The injection takes effect within moments. The dog's breathing slows, his muscles relaxing just a bit. His head sinks lower onto the jungle floor. "Good boy," the lead rescuer murmurs, stroking his head gently. "We are going to help you." Piece by piece, the rescuers continue cutting away the honeycomb, working meticulously to free the dog from the hardened prison. Some of the combs are embedded deep in his fur, requiring them to use warm saline solution to soften the wax. The rescuer with the shears pauses every few moments, assessing the damage beneath the removed combs. He is covered in sting marks, one rescuer observes grimly. The dog's skin is swollen in multiple places, the angry red welt standing out starkly against his fur. The lead rescuer hands over a bottle of soothing antiseptic. "Apply this as soon as the last of the honeycomb is off. We need to prevent infection." Minutes feel like hours as the team continues working. The jungle is eerily silent now, the last of the bees finally driven away. The once buzzing swarm has dispersed, leaving behind only a suffering animal and the determined humans fighting to save him. At last, the final piece of honeycomb is removed. The dog is free, but his body is still weak, his fur sticky with residual honey and dirt. The second rescuer quickly begins applying the antiseptic, his hands moving with care as he spreads the cool liquid over the swollen sting marks. The German shepherd lets out a deep sigh. His body relaxes slightly, his breathing less labored. The relief is almost instant. One rescuer brings out clean bandages, wrapping the worst of the wounds to prevent infection. Another retrieves a damp cloth and gently wipes away the remnants of honey and wax clinging to the dog's fur. His coat is still messy, but at least now he is free from the painful burden that once weighed him down. The lead rescuer checks the IV drip. He is getting fluids, but he will need more medical attention as soon as we get him out of here. The jungle feels different now. The danger has passed, but the journey to recovery is just beginning. The rescuers exchange glances. Their job is not done yet. One of them kneels beside the dog, whispering softly, "You are safe now, buddy. We are taking you home." The German shepherd's eyes flicker open. For the first time, there is a faint glimmer of hope in them. The once buzzing jungle has fallen silent. The only sounds now are the gentle rustling of leaves and the quiet movements of the rescuers, who remain focused on their mission. The German shepherd lies still, exhausted, but no longer in immediate pain. His body is weak, his breathing slow but steady. The lead rescuer examines the wounds now fully exposed after the honeycomb removal. Deep sting marks swell angrily along the dog's skin, some areas raw and inflamed. "We need to clean these thoroughly," he says, pulling out antiseptic wipes and a bottle of saline. Another rescuer prepares a bowl of clean water, dipping a soft cloth into the cool liquid before gently pressing it against the worst of the wounds. The dog flinches slightly at first, a soft whimper escaping his throat, but the pain soon gives way to relief as the soothing touch of the damp cloth eases his suffering. The third rescuer unwraps a roll of sterile bandages. "We will have to wrap the deeper wounds to prevent infection." With practiced hands, they work together, cleaning each swollen welt and carefully dabbing on a soothing ointment. The scent of medicinal herbs fills the air, mixing with the faint smell of honey that still lingers on the dog's fur. As the cool touch of the ointment sinks into his inflamed skin, the German shepherd lets out a deep sigh. His body relaxes slightly under the gentle care of the rescuers. His trust, though fragile, begins to build. One rescuer kneels beside him, holding out a small bowl of fresh water. "Come on, buddy," he murmurs encouragingly. "You need to drink." For a moment, the dog hesitates, his dark eyes flickering between the humans surrounding him. Then slowly he lifts his head and licks at the water, his tongue moving sluggishly at first. But as the cool liquid touches his parched throat, his movements grow stronger, his thirst overcoming his initial fear. The rescuers exchange relieved glances. "That is a good sign," one of them whispers. "He's fighting." After a few more sips, the German shepherd pauses, his gaze shifting to the rescuer kneeling closest to him. There is a long silence, then, tentatively, he reaches out with his tongue and licks the rescuer's hand. The moment is small, yet powerful. A sign of trust, of gratitude, of the bond beginning to form between the wounded animal and his saviors. The rescuer smiles softly, gently stroking the dog's head. "You are safe now," he whispers. "We have got you." Soft, emotional music begins to swell in the background, heightening the impact of the moment. The camera captures slow-paced, lingering shots of the German shepherd's tired but trusting eyes, the gentle hands tending to his wounds, the warmth of his first true moment of comfort in what must have felt like an eternity of pain. One rescuer secures the last bandage, adjusting it to ensure it does not cause any further discomfort. Another gives the dog one final reassuring pat before standing up. "He's ready to be moved," the lead rescuer announces. The team prepares for the next stage of the journey, getting the dog to safety, to a place where he can heal fully. But for now, in this quiet jungle clearing, a life has been given a second chance. The jungle, once filled with urgency and distress, now hums with quiet anticipation. The rescuers watch the German shepherd closely, their eyes filled with hope. His wounds are bandaged, his body treated, but his spirit still needs healing. The dog remains still for a moment, lying on the soft earth, his breathing steadier than before. His dark eyes, tired yet filled with something new, determination, scan his surroundings. A rescuer kneels beside him, speaking in a soothing tone. "Come on, boy, you can do it." The German shepherd shifts slightly, his ears twitching at the familiar, comforting voice. He lets out a small breath before trying to push himself up. His front paws press against the ground, his muscles trembling from exhaustion. The rescuers lean forward, their breaths held in anticipation. The dog's back legs wobble as he attempts to rise. For a moment it seems like he might collapse back down, but then he steadies himself. A wave of emotion washes over the team as they watch him lift his frail body, standing on all fours for the first time since the rescue began. One rescuer claps softly, his voice filled with encouragement. "That is it. You are doing great." Another crouches beside him, reaching out a careful hand for support, but the German shepherd does not lean on it. He wants to do this on his own. His legs are still unsteady, his stance uneven, but there is something unmistakable in his posture. Determination, strength, a will to survive. The dog takes a tentative step forward, his paws sinking slightly into the damp earth. His first step is shaky, his second more confident. He pauses, his ears perking up as he hears the gentle encouragement from the rescuers surrounding him. The team exchanges smiles. "You have got this, buddy." With each step, his movements grow stronger. The limp is still there, but so is his will to push forward. He is not just surviving, he is fighting to live. The moment is powerful. A dog once covered in honeycomb formations, suffering and helpless, now taking his first steps toward a new life. The jungle around them, once a scene of distress, now feels like the backdrop to a new beginning. Soft, uplifting music swells in the background. The camera captures the slow, determined movements of the German shepherd, the warmth in his rescuer's eyes, the golden sunlight filtering through the trees, illuminating the path ahead. One rescuer kneels down and gently strokes his head. "You are strong, my friend, stronger than you know." The German Shepherd looks up at them, his eyes filled with gratitude, and for the first time since they found him, he wags his tail, just slightly, but enough to send a wave of emotion through the entire team. His journey is far from over, but at this moment, hope is stronger than ever. The jungle, once a place of suffering for the German Shepherd, now becomes a path toward freedom. The rescuers walk beside him, their pace slow and steady, matching his careful steps. Each one watches him closely, ready to support him if needed, but he pushes forward on his own, determined to leave the pain behind. The dog glances up at the team, his dark eyes reflecting something new. Trust, gratitude. He is no longer alone in his fight. His tail wags slightly, a small yet powerful sign of the progress he has made. The rescuers exchange soft smiles, their hearts swelling with relief. One of them reaches down and gently pats his back. "You are doing great, buddy. Just a little further." The path ahead is uneven, but the German Shepherd does not falter. With every step, his legs grow stronger, his stance more stable. The jungle begins to thin out, revealing the glistening waters of the river. The rescue boat waits at the shore, a symbol of the fresh start awaiting him. The sun dips lower in the sky, casting golden hues across the landscape. Its warm glow washes over them, illuminating the dog's fur, the determination in his eyes, the unwavering care of the people who saved him. The moment feels cinematic, like the closing scene of a journey filled with hardship, hope, and triumph. As they reach the edge of the river, the lead rescuer kneels beside the dog, looking into his eyes. "You are safe now," he says softly. "No more suffering. Just a new life ahead." The German Shepherd lets out a small huff, then nudges the rescuer's hand in response. The bond they have formed in such a short time is undeniable, a connection forged in rescue, in survival, in trust. The team boards the boat, guiding the dog gently onto the deck. He hesitates for a brief moment, then steps forward, his body finally at ease. The engine hums to life, and as they drift away from the shore, the jungle stands tall behind them, no longer a place of fear, but a place where a life was saved. Soft, emotional music swells in the background. The camera captures the final shots, the sun setting behind them, the rescuers sharing quiet, triumphant glances, the German Shepherd resting beside them, eyes half closed in exhaustion, but finally safe. The journey is not over, but for now, hope has won. The jungle, once a maze of suffering for the German Shepherd, now stretches ahead as a path to freedom. The rescuers walk beside him, their pace slow, steady, and reassuring. The dog, still weak but determined, steps forward, his once wounded body finding rhythm with theirs. The dense trees begin to thin, allowing streaks of the setting sun to pierce through. Shadows dance along the ground as the golden light embraces them, painting the scene in hues of triumph and warmth. The dog pauses for a moment, glancing up at the humans who have saved him. His dark eyes, once filled with fear, now hold something different: trust, gratitude, and the first hints of peace. One of the rescuers kneels beside him, offering a gentle pat on his head. "You did it, buddy. You are safe now." The German Shepherd's tail wags slightly. It is not much, but to the team it means everything. A sign that the fear is fading, replaced by comfort and assurance. The final stretch of the jungle trail leads them closer to the river. The dog's steps grow steadier, his body adjusting to the newfound strength within. The air is cool, carrying the soft rustling of leaves and the distant calls of birds settling in for the night. The boat waits at the shore, gently bobbing with the current. It is more than just transportation. It is the symbol of a fresh start. As they approach the water's edge, the lead rescuer crouches down, looking into the dog's eyes. This is it. No more pain, no more fear. Only safety ahead. The dog lets out a soft huff, then nudges the rescuer's hand with his nose. A silent moment of understanding passes between them. A connection built not just from rescue, but from trust and resilience. Stepping onto the boat, the dog hesitates for only a moment before climbing aboard. He settles on the deck, his tired body finally able to relax. The rescuers gather around, their faces reflecting the quiet victory of the moment. The boat drifts away from the shore, leaving behind the jungle that once held so much suffering. The camera captures the final shots, golden light shimmering on the water, the gentle swaying of the boat, the rescuers exchanging relieved smiles, and the German shepherd, eyes half closed, resting at their feet. Hope has won. And for the first time in a long time, the dog is going home. The German shepherd, once lost and in pain, now runs freely across the open field. His once wounded body is now strong and full of life. He leaps with excitement, his tail wagging, his spirit unbreakable. His fur, once matted and covered in honeycombs, now shines in the sunlight, a testament to his resilience and the care he received. Other dogs join him, their playful barks filling the air. Together they chase each other, rolling in the grass, embodying the very essence of happiness. The shepherd pauses, turning to look at the rescuer standing nearby. His eyes sparkle, reflecting the gratitude and bond formed through kindness. The rescuer kneels, extending a hand. Without hesitation, the dog trots over, nuzzling against the familiar touch. The rescuer smiles, ruffling his fur. "You are home now," he says softly. The camera captures the touching moment. Man and dog, once strangers brought together by fate, now sharing an unbreakable connection. The scene shifts to a montage, images of the shepherd's journey from his time in the jungle to the moment of rescue, to his healing process, and now his new life. Each frame tells a story of hope, a reminder that no creature is too broken to be saved. The screen fades to black and powerful words appear. Every life matters. Every rescue counts. Every second chance is a new beginning. Uplifting music swells, carrying the message home. The final shot returns to the shepherd, running once more, free, happy, and loved. This is not just the end of his story. This is the beginning of a beautiful new life.